Thank you, Mr. Srinivasan, Arunaji. With greetings to Dushyanth, Anahita and Apurva, and Akshay Ram. Very happy to be here this evening and say a few words. I will be very brief because I do not want to stand between you and the artists of the evening. எல்லாருக்கும் கேட்க முடியுமா அங்கே? வால்யூம் வேணுமா? Okay. See, I very briefly want to talk about first Dushyanth, then Harikatha. Why this particular program today is very important. What is happening in the country at this particular juncture and where we go and why this Harikatha form is becoming very important today. Dushyanth is a young man who has turned from a career in IT and other technical things and taken the deep dive into an art form that maybe was going out of fashion. We always had Burra Katha in Andhra and we had Haripat in Maharashtra. Typically a South Indian thing with parts of Tamil Nadu also involved in this. It was a way of transmitting cultural, educational and religious values to the people at large. And in a general sense, it is part of the Indian knowledge system, which is the thing that has kept this Bharat Varsha going for 5,000 years. It is a storytelling, but it is not quite music, it is not quite dance, it is not quite poetry, it is not quite philosophy, it is not quite drama, but it is everything. Typically in keeping with the Sanatana Dharma idea that the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. So this is, I think, the basic idea of Harikatha. And typically, I remember as a youngster, I grew up in Bombay myself, so it was almost impossible to hear this, but when we went to smaller towns in Andhra and Karnataka, you would hear this. Now it has come to a big city. Here is a regular auditorium, proper thing. And yet he is doing Harikatha. Why is he doing it now? What is the need? Why have so many people come? You see, it is very important now that this Harikatha form is expanded, encouraged, because this country is at a crossroads. Let me go straight to the point. The West, the American deep state, the Tukade gang, the Break India forces, they like India, but they do not like Bharat. That is the crux of the matter. And this idea that there is something called Bharat which is very old, much, much older than the India which is only 75 years old. I was telling somebody at lunch today that generally you find people dislike those whom they cannot understand, normally. So the American deep state dislikes us because they don't understand us. And this is where Harikatha becomes important. This is where Dushyanth becomes very important, because he is telling the story and he is inculcating the spirit of Bharat Varsha in all of us. Please remember, ladies and gentlemen, that what is happening today in Madras in particular and in Carnatic music and dance in general is a concerted attack by the deep state, the US deep state, George Soros, on things we hold dearest to our heart as Bharatiyas. And here I will unabashedly use the word Brahmin, because by Brahmin I mean a functional Brahmin, not a Brahmin by birth. This is very important. Just because you are born in a Brahmin family does not make you a Brahmin. I am going back to the old concept of Varna, where a person, if he behaves like a Brahmin, is a Brahmin. That is the meaning I want to intend here. And in that sense, I feel Dushyanth, myself, Chinu, all of us here are proud, functioning Brahmins. It is not, we don't just claim it by birth. It is very important. And in the book that he has written on Ramayana, it explains a certain facet of this. I have written a book called Bharat India 2.0, which some of you know, where I have again emphasized this. This country is at a terrific crossroads. We are a civilizational state which is trapped in the constitution of a nation state. That is why we don't know what we are doing. Please remember, I will give you some data. If you take the whole Bharat Varsha, it covered an extent of 80 lakh square kilometers. The beginning. If you take from Kandahar to Mandalay and from the mountain to the ocean, within that you will get 80 lakh square kilometers. Today the political boundary of the Republic of India is only 32 lakh square kilometers. We have lost more than half our land. And we have lost this simply because we fell into a minority and tamo gunathile we have landed in that mess. People like Dushyanth are trying to remove this tamas from all of us. We have to somehow gear ourselves. All of you all are music aficionados. You know music. I myself was taught music long ago. And I was a trained singer at one point before my research career in chemistry overtook me, and I can just listen. And as Arunaji said very kindly, listening to Vrinda Mukta, D.K. Patama, M.L. Vasantakumari, all these, I have been privileged to hear all these people in person. So that is part of the story. But what really has happened is, in the present mess, it is not enough to say, ladies and gentlemen, Begada Ragam Dhanam Pallavi Rumba Nanna Padina or Panturali Nanna Irindadu, but I have heard so and so sing Panturali better. This is not enough. Anybody who can recognize that Begada and Panturali are different ragas will have the IQ to know that India is in trouble today. He will know that a constitutional state is different from a nation state. We are not aware of this, ladies and gentlemen, in the southern part of the country because we have not suffered so much. What Shri Dharampal ji says, the confluence of Mullah, missionary and Marxist have taken hold of all of us. And if we don't watch it, and if we just sit in our complacent little world and say, Revagupti Nanna Irindadu, that was not okay, this is not okay, we will hear some kacheri because we like it. It is not enough. To some extent, we, the functional Brahmins of this country, why do they attack Brahmins? Because they know by attacking Brahmins, Soros knows he attacks Sanatana Dharma itself. Because we have been the custodians of this from time immemorial. I will end with a very small example, which I am sure, since many of you know music, have heard music, have practiced music. Let us take this most beloved of compositions, the Bhairavi Atatala Varnam. All of us have heard it umpteen times from many people. Many of us know it also. Now there are things going on in other parts of Madras today, at this very moment. When somebody is saying, I'll begin my kacheri with the last Ettugada Swaram, Sariga Sariga Ri Nisari Nisari Sa. So he'll start the kacheri with that. In the middle of the kacheri, he will suddenly say, I will take up one Ettugada Swaram, Gagai Risa Risa Nini Dani Sari. He will sing that in the middle of the kacheri. And at the end of the kacheri, instead of Mangalam, he will sing the Pallavi. Viriboni Ninne Kori Marulu Konnadira. And then he will tell you, you have heard the whole Bhairavi Varnam. I have sung everything for you which is in the Varnam. It's like saying I can eat a South Indian meal and eat Tair Sadam first and Sambar Sadam in the end. Exactly like that. And that is what the Tukde Tukde gang would like us to believe. That it doesn't matter where you sing the Pallavi, where you sing the Charnam, where you do all this. People like Dushyanth are giving a reality check to us. Because in talking about the life of a great saint like Senkote Avadi Akkal, who plunged her life into the whole obscure topic of Vedanta at that time. Imagine a Brahmin widow in that era, writing these songs and educating the people. He will be re-educating us today in this matter. And that is why the Harikatha form in particular is very important. Let me emphasize again. More so than I would say vocal music or dance or anything else. Because sir, you get to the hearts of the people immediately through this Harikatha. And I would certainly urge you in your blossoming career to take up the lives of saints outside South India. Take a saint, say in Bangladesh. People there are suffering so much today. Please take a saint who came from what is now West Pakistan. These are all our sacred geographical territories, which we must reclaim back as part of our heritage. The time is over for us to passively accept our fate and say, we can't do anything about it. It is not like that. And I do hope, I wish you very well in your bright careers. The vocalists are students of my good friend, Chitravina Ravikiran, and I am sure he has trained you well, and I am sure Dushyanth has also brought you in line with this whole Harikatha thing. You know, Ayushman Bhava, may you all do well, and please feel that you are part of a big national endeavor, a civilizational endeavor. It has now gone beyond Begada and Todi and Saveri and all that. It is much, much bigger than all that. So please be aware that in the shadow of the famous Kapaleshwarar Kovil, we have all assembled here. No better place where the good vibes will take over, and I am sure that with their performance, they will elevate our hearts and educate our spirits also. Let me end by presenting these books of Sri Vamshu Jewelry on rearming Hinduism to the members of the performing group. Mr. Chinu has given them to me, and I will present them to the artists with great pleasure and joy. Thank you very much indeed.